This is the new Porsche 911 GT3 RS. This is the new 992 generation GT3 RS, which is the biggest single step on the form of its production since the 996 GT3 RS back in 2004. It's truly an ultimate track machine. It makes a 992 GT3 look like a child's toy. It starts with the current 992 generation 911 GT3 as a base. But with the RS, Porsche have gone wider on the body, going to the new extremes, replacing the bonnet, front wings, and the doors with carbon fibre reinforced plastic. The changes Porsche have done aim to keep the weight gain to a minimum, while creating genuine downforce rather than simply reducing lift. It has resulted in the most aggressive design aero package ever seen on a road-legal 911. As the previous generations of 911 RS models, this new GT3 RS won't technically be a limited edition, yet its build numbers will be limited by production capability. However, I'll get onto the price of the new GT3 RS at the end of the video. Despite the extensive use of carbon, there's so much new hardware on the RS that its weight is actually slightly up on the standard GT3, weighing in at 1,450 kg, 15 kg more than the standard GT3. To compensate this weight, Porsche have added an additional 14 brake horsepower in its 4-litre flat 6, which now produces 517 brake horsepower, obtained largely from a new cam profile, a new single throttle intake system borrowed from Porsche's race cars. The 7-speed transmission is fitted with a short final drive and new ducting to assist cooling on track. These mechanical changes help it reach the statement of 0 to 60 in 3.2 seconds claimed from Porsche, 0.2 seconds faster than a standard GT3. A compromise though of this aggressive aerodynamic package has reduced the top speed, which despite a drag-reduced system, DRS, it's down 14 miles an hour, making the top speed 184 miles an hour. The most obvious new aero device is the GT3 RS's rear wing, which is not only very large, but also mounted higher on its reshaped swan neck mounts. So high in fact, it's above the roofline of the car. The wing is balanced by a front splitter that actively splits the airflow above and below the car, directing the air to either the rear wing or rear diffuser, depending on speed and the requirements of the rear wing. While the front end design might look similar to the standard GT3, aerodynamically, the two cars' front aero work in completely different ways. That's because the RS features a single, large, central mounted radiator instead of the standard GT3's two smaller units that sit ahead of the front wheels. It's vented through two huge openings in the CFRP bonnet, which dissipates so much heat. Porsche's fitted two small fins on the roof to help direct the hot air outwards, rather than letting it attach itself to the high-speed cooler airflow that feeds the RS's main engine intake at the base of the rear glass. The side intakes aren't used to feed the engine intake, rather they assist the aero around the rear end. Porsche's also fitted various aero devices around both the front and rear wheel arches. As with the 991 generation, the front arches are ventilated at the top to relieve air pressure. But this is now aided by the huge outlets inspired by those used on the 911 GT1 Le Mans racer of the late 90s. To manage the merging of airflow from inside and outside of the wheel arches, Porsche's fitted side blades on both axles. And in the case of the front arches, integrating a hidden LED turn signal into the upright section's supporting beam. The result of all these devices are some incredible numbers. The GT3 will produce a maximum downforce of 860 kg at 177 miles an hour and 409 kg at 124 miles an hour, double that of the 991 generation GT3 RS and 3 times more than the standard GT3. Alongside the aero elements, Porsche has gone to town on the chassis and its adjustability. As with the current GT3, the basic suspension layout combines a double wishbone front and multi-link rear setup, with coil springs on adjustable dampers. The damper adjustment is no longer restricted to just 3 broad settings. For the first time in any Porsche, the suspension can be adjusted for both compression and rebound, 8 different settings on each specific axle. And yes, this can all be done while driving your new GT3 RS. It's not the level of adjustability that's unusual in high-end track cars, but it's all done electronically, rather than a set of tools while the car is on a jack. These chassis settings are controlled via a new steering wheel, that incorporates 3 additional rotary controls alongside the drive mode selection switch. When the PASM rotary dial is activated, a second rotary control allows you to adjust the compromisation and rebound independently, with each setting displayed with the instruction track mode display. These 3 new dials in normal circumstances also give you access to the RS's traction control and rear differential. Newly adjustable versions of the Porsche's electronically controlled torque, vectoring, limited slip rear diff, or easily said PTV+. PTV+ was definitely easier to say. The steering wheel also activates the DRS system, with a small button placed in the usual control cluster on the right-hand steering wheel spoke. Free of hardware ahead of the front wheels, the 99mm wider front axle is in more direct contact with the airflow. So Porsche designed the front wishbone arms with a teardrop profile, producing around 40 kg of downforce at maximum speed. Steel brakes are standard, featuring a new 408mm front disc with a 6-piston front calipers, and the existing 380mm 4-piston combo at the rear. Both the piston and brake disc whips have grown ever so slightly by 2mm in both cases. The RS runs on a wider wheel and tyre package than the standard GT3. Porsche has not confirmed the available tyres yet, but the tyres fitted to the cars in the released images are Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2s. Some prototypes have been spotted using Pirelli P0s with the RS stamp on the sidewalls, as these could take over from the Cup 2Ss. There will be both Clubsport and Weissach package available for the RS, coming to you at no extra cost, incorporating a steel roll bar, harness for the standard fit carbon bucket seats, and a fire extinguisher. The Weissach package takes things further, incorporating bespoke carbon fibre front and rear anti-roll bars, a carbon fibre shear panel on the rear axle, and a brand new CFRP rollover hoop that saves 6 kg overall on the Clubsport's steel unit. This is combined with an exposed carbon fibre wave finish to the bonnet, roof, central elements of the rear wing and upper half of the side mirror shells, plus a bespoke steering wheel mount with shift paddles. The Weissach package without the roll hoop costs $22,000 or $25,000 with. There is also a further set of magnesium wheels only available in combination with the Weissach package. The new RS isn't all about aero, but downforce was very obviously a driving force in its design, playing a defining role in its performance. Aside from the massive wings and sharp bodywork, the most radical element is the new central radiator. This cooling pack occupies the luggage compartment, meaning RS drivers won't be able to pack their picnic baskets. With all this said and done, how does it handle on the track? Reporters have said that aero might be a dominant theme here, but so is adjustability. Everything from compression and rebound settings on the front and rear dampeners, all the way to the lock rate of the limited slip differential can be minutely adjusted via rotary switches mounted on the steering wheel. It puts a geeky amount of degree for control on this car, right at the driver's fingertips, bringing us the first RS to exist at the forefront of digital dynamics. It's possible to explore a meaningful portion of the adjustment. The range is so vast you could be here for weeks. However, Porsche has done an amazing job of the RS's responses. Feeling its behaviour change click by click, this Porsche could be the key to the RS offering greater approachability on the road over the regular GT3. Not something you'd expect from a car that looks like it's designed to live in a garage at Silverstone. Despite the radical makeover, there's reassuring similarities in the RS's 4-litre naturally aspirated flat 6 and 7-speed transmission. Porsche have really squeezed this motor until it's going to pop. The gain lifts a total of 518 horsepower at 8,500 RPM, thanks to the adapted RS cylinder heads and camshafts. Airflow management has been optimised to ensure hot air is channeled along the flaps of the car, while cool air runs over the top and into the intake coupe in the top of the engine cover. That dazzling 9,000 RPM engine and super sharp 7-speed box is one of the all-time great partnerships. Although a huge difference to the normal GT3, being recorded that people have managed to get the new GT3 RS to 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. That's 0.2 seconds quicker than Porsche claiming, and 100 miles an hour in 6.9 seconds. With the top speed being confirmed of 184 miles an hour. Somewhat disappointing, being 14 miles an hour slower of the standard GT3. It's when you brake hard on the first corner that you appreciate the RS is a different type of gravy to the standard GT3. The RS feels stronger, stealing several car lengths in the first big braking zone and making additional ground and picking up that additional ground all the way over the apex. Driving this car, you're going to feel like a hero. It's the same story through fast corners. The RS gives you so much confidence as you commit an in-turn and allows you to chase the throttle sooner. Now, is there a downside to all this downforce? Is it that it's carrying such a pace through the corners it reduces the delta between the speed each time you join the straight and peak force you achieve by the end of it? Because Porsche has done so good with the brakes and through the corners, you know it can handle plenty more grunt. Downforce is a magical thing to experience and explore. It's true to say that with the move to the double wishbone front suspension over the regular 992 GT3 already dialed out the 911's last remaining handling quirks. But with wider tyres on the rear allows for a more firmer, flatter, multi-adjustable suspension system and that remarkable Aero package. It's not all grip and no slip. The front of the car can begin to push wider if you ask it to. Likewise, the tail might be shimmering in protest. But the balance feels very natural and the behaviour very much that of a road car, with an upgrade of a Hot Wheels body kit over a standard GT3. The new 992 Generation 911 GT3 RS. It's the most track-focused series production 911 yet. The latest RS member joining a family that traces its roots back to the iconic 1973 1.2 RS to today's brilliant GT4 RS. In this new 911 GT3 RS, Porsche has pushed the limits of what it feels for a possibility of a road car. The GT3 RS is available to order. Now, what's the damage of the new Porsche 911 GT3 RS? You might not be shocked to see a near £50,000 price rise over the current GT3 at £178,500. Yet the depth of the new RS series chassis and aero changes so extensively that this price point feels something of a bargain when a Lamborghini Huracan or a McLaren 765 LT both cost closer to £300,000.